Hello, hello, and welcome to the Color Whisperer Show, where we talk about all things home and healing. And first of all, I just have to say, look at the light today. I haven't done nothing different. Actually, I'm using less light. This is just outside light, apparently, what's coming in. But this is the best this room has looked in the whole time I've been doing this podcast. I want to know what I did differently. This lighting thing is such a big deal. Oh my goodness. But anyway, here we are. It is a wonderful March day. It is rainy in California. It's been raining for like the last 3 days. My cat's going stir crazy. I'm going stir crazy. We're not used to having 3 days of rain constant. Uh, it's really and really because we don't get so much of it. All I want to do is just curl up, put my cover in the covers, and I don't want to get out of bed. I just want to stay warm and cozy and read or I don't know. So anyway, I've been doing a lot of things. I haven't had as many podcasts in the last few weeks because there's been a lot going on. Last week, I got my house tinted. Oh, that has been a ton of work. They make it sound so simple, but I pulled out all my food, stored it at a friend's house. It's easier than putting it in all those bags. They make you double bag stuff, and so that the gas doesn't get in. And I'm like, you know what? It's easier to just put it in a box and drive it someplace. So that's what I did. And now I'm washing everything that was here because I just like, I may be bordering on overcautious, but I'd rather be overcautious in this matter than not. And so washing all the dishes and everything, and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So everything's out in the dining room and just every day, as they say, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So I had my bookkeeper come over yesterday, and she walked in and she's like, "Oh, what happened, Jeanette?" Because like there's stuff all over the dining room and a little bit into the living room. And she's like, "What happened?" I said, "Well, I'm cleaning all this stuff." So your house tells stories. That's what we're going to talk about today. It's all the stories your house tells. Some of it may be stories you don't want it to tell. How do I make it the story you do want it to tell? So yesterday, my bookkeeper came in and she was just, wow. Like it looked like a zoo hit. No, that's not right. It looked like, she could clearly see there was something up. Like, oh, what happened? When I explained to her, she was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And how this affects me is there's definitely an element of like looking at all of this project. Doing it all at once is too much. And so I'm literally doing it one bite at a time. Okay. Every day I do a load or two of dishes. I wanted to wash all the bedding. I wanted, there's a few other things that need to be done. And so there's a long list, very long list. And every day I cross off a few more things. And some days I don't get to cross off as many things. I've got other stuff going on. And some days there's a lot going on. Or there's not as much going on. And so I can get more things crossed off. There's such an amazing feeling when you get to cross something off on a list, on a piece of paper. It's so cool. And then you get things crossed off, enough things crossed off. And then you have to start with a new list because you can't see the few that are left. I tried doing an app one time where it did it, but it did it digitally and you could still see what was there. And I'm like, I didn't like that. And it's so much fun to like cross half the stuff off and then, oh, okay. Oh, my cat's going stir crazy. He may join us today. We'll see. uh, anyway, but there's something like pushing the button to cross it out just doesn't have the same emotional reward that crossing it off with a piece of paper. That's where the gray hair comes in. The age comes in. We didn't grow up on computers. We grew up with pen and paper, and I kind of like that. I'm glad I didn't grow up on a computer. There's actually some very interesting stuff around the mechanic of writing that our brain needs, especially cursive writing. It streamlines thoughts and it helps you to think. And if you're just doing that on the computer, it's very hard. And I remember when I first started using computer in college, I'd have to write it out on paper first because I could not write on a computer. It took me years before I could just sit down and write on a computer. But the process of thinking it out on paper is just so much more magical. Even with drafting, it's like, I got to draft it out on paper first. Then I can put it in the computer. But thinking on the computer it takes me twice as long. I can think a lot faster on paper. So I know for you young ones out there, the paper seems archaic, but there's a lot of good things about it. If you go do some research, you'll see we actually need it. And it's very sad they've taken cursive writing out of school because it does really help. What's the right words? We've got all these little wires in our brain and it helps to put them together. There's something called automatic writing that I have not been real successful at it personally, where you just allow your hand to write. I do that, but it doesn't produce anything that anybody can read, including me. It's supposed to be that you can create words out of it and get into more of your subconscious that way. But for me, it just creates a lot of scribbles and so on and so forth. So it's not really legible. And there's actually a really cool technique where you do some scribbles, you sit down with an issue and then you do some scribbles. And then what you do, which is very neat, is after you've done your scribbles, you go through and you find all the hard spots, all the hard angles, and you soften them. And then you take that scribble and you purposely do another scribble to soften the edges. And it's very impactful. Anyway, I digress. I'm a little punchy today, guys. I'm sorry. But anyway, so back to what are the secrets your house is telling you? So one of the things that your house may be telling you is you're depressed. I do get depression every now and then. And one of the big signs for me to tell me that I'm slipping into it is the house gets really messy. And I don't mean messy. Like it just gets a little cluttered. The piles of paper get a little bit higher. The mail gets a little bit higher. Does it stay that way? No. But it is a clear sign of depression, is doing those simple tasks just seems harder. So you eat it like an elephant, one bite at a time. Once I see that and I go, oh, okay, I may be suffering some depression. Okay, what do? I know what to do. I go to my herbs. St. John's wort is a wonderful one. There's a bunch of different things I have that I have in my my closet, my bag of tricks, shall we say, like, okay, what's going to make me feel better? And I start doing them. And a big one is just eating good. I've been eating out a lot because my kitchen hasn't been in order. It's kind of like redoing my kitchen again. And so my kitchen has been a mess. It took me a couple days to find my pots and pans. That was annoying. Like, they got to be here somewhere. Well, they were. They were just in the back of the table. That was hard to get to. And it's when you do nothing but eat out, you don't know what's in your food. And it's hard enough we don't know what's in our food. But when you're eating out, you really don't know what's in your food. And a lot of this stuff is really not healthy for you. And so then it makes you feel more icky. And it just piles on and piles on. So one great way is to get out of depression, just eat as natural as you can. No preservatives, no chemicals. If you start really looking at your labels and seeing how many chemicals are in your food, it's really scary. When you start looking at what those chemicals are, you're never going to want to eat again. And so many of those chemicals are in so many of our foods. Natural flavoring is one. There's nothing natural flavoring about natural flavoring. Ugh. Anyway, that's a topic for another day. So another thing, it creates clutter in your brain. So when your house gets cluttered, you're not thinking clearly. It makes it harder to think. People who are hoarders, they have shows on television for hoarders. And it's not just that they've got all this stuff. I've never gotten anywhere near close to that bad. I don't know how you get to be that bad. But I do too, because it is a response to trauma. There's an element of they're afraid to let go of something. And everybody has a certain amount of stuff they need around them to feel good. Now, for some people, that may mean, one vase on a shelf. For other people, that might mean a collection of vases on a shelf. Maybe there's 10 of them. We all have our comfort zone. And we got to design for that comfort zone. But when you've got 30 vases on that shelf and you can't even see any of them because they're so close together and they're piled on top of each other, that's when it becomes too much. And when it starts getting like you can't even throw away trash, I mean, there's really something going on there that you're not willing to let go. And I watched the hoarding shows for a while, and in each case, there was something majorly traumatic that happened that made them switch. Because they didn't start out that way. There was an event that happened that they just got out of control. It got out of control, or they felt the world was out of control. I've been there, that one. My miscarriage, I was like, my second one, I was like, whoa. First one was tough, but the second one, that one was really bad. And it was, wow. And there were some times there it was really difficult to get through. So I've been in that space where it's so overwhelming that you don't know how you're going to make it through the day. And with hoarding, that's their path is, okay, well, if I just hang on to enough stuff, then I can feel safe. Now, when it gets to the point where there's like rats and dead animals and dead rats, and like it becomes to the point where you're like, it's not even sanitary, and there's no room for you to walk. but that's their trauma response. And so it's not just a matter of just coming in and throwing everything away. You have to deal with the trauma response as well. All right. So a few of my clients that called me to help me because their house was yelling at them. One was a very wonderful woman. She was in her 50s and she had married the love of her life in her 40s, early 40s. And unfortunately, they only had about 10 years together and he died. And there she was in this house. Now, when she moved into this house, his kids were mostly grown, but one of the kids said, she tried to change something in the house. And when the kids said, "That's my mother's, you will not change that." Okay, well, she didn't really want to ruffle any feathers. And yeah, it wasn't, she had him. That's what she cared about. But now he was gone. The kids all had their own houses and kids and everything else. And the house was dated. It was decorated in the 60s, metallic wallpaper, orange shag carpet, all the works, right? And it was a very weird message because it was just like, it was keeping her stuck. She knew she had to change it because it was never her to begin with. And here is this woman who she knew her, but she didn't know her. I mean, and it was her world she was living in, and she didn't want to live in that world. And now that the husband was gone, there wasn't enough there for her. Like, he balanced that out. Like, she could be okay with it was his decor, but now he was gone and it was time for her to make her mark. And she was still young. She was in her 50s and she's like, she had lots of life to live. Like, she wasn't just going to go crawl in a hole and, oh, my husband's dead, I'm going to go, become a recluse. That wasn't who she was. And so she called me up and she said, in fact, one of the things she said was, I was more fun than going to see a therapist. I think that's true. And yet there's so much of what I do that's therapy. The first day I went to see her, we got to talking and we looked around the house and said, this has got to go. This is going to change. We talked about all the things we were going to change. And it was just so much what we got to change and create for her. But on that first day, she let me know that her coffee pot was still the ex-wife's coffee pot. I'm like, who has a coffee pot that long? I don't drink coffee. I don't know. But it seems like a long time. And I said, you need to go get your own coffee pot. Oh, she says, I have one in the garage. I'm like, crikey. Let's go get it right now and plug it in. Now, that seems like a no-brainer. Why didn't she do that herself? But she needed somebody with her to do that. She needed somebody there to give her confidence to say, yes, it's time to make it right. We transformed her home into something beautiful. It was such an amazing thing. By the time we were done, she was dating, loving life. She was having company over, and we got all done and she invited the kids over. She was a little bit nervous because she changed everything. And, the kid who said, oh, that's my mother's stuff, you can't change that, came up to her and said, oh, we're so happy for you. Why did you wait so long? So again, we let certain words influence us that really weren't meant to influence us that much. This teenager was sad. Her parents were going through a divorce. She was dealing with all that. And it was her angst and her grief coming out at that point in time, which she totally forgot about. Another one of my clients had lost her parents and her sister. They had all been sick in the same house. And there's signs of illness everywhere. You know, there was makeshift bars in the bathtub so that people could get in and out. You know, everything was done. The house even still smelled sick, even after they were gone. They'd been gone for a while when I went in there, and like you could just feel it was like it felt like walking into a hospital. And it was yelling at her because she's like, I don't want to live in a hospital. Who wants to live in a hospital? It's no fun. But that's what it felt like. And she didn't even feel like it was her house. She was still sleeping in her childhood room instead of taking the master like she should have. But she said, nope, it's still my parents' room. I can't. So we created a wonderful environment for her. She loved books. We created all these bookcases, and we took some of the master bedroom and extended it, took some of the space from the master bedroom and did built-in bookcases in the living room. So the living room wall went back, which went into the master bedroom. And once we moved those walls, then she felt like she could move in there. It wasn't her parents' bedroom anymore. Had a client who did my 30-minute Discover Your Sacred Space session. And I've done several of these, and each one is so enlightening. And this client was so proud of her house. Everything was picture perfect, perfectly neat. She brought me in her garage, and she says, I have the neatest garage in the world. You could eat off the floor. She was so proud of it. And it was the neatest garage I'd ever seen. And as we were going through the house, she kept talking about how proud she was of areas that sometimes get more cluttered. And they weren't in her house. And then her office, her husband had an office in the guest bedroom. And she says, oh yeah, he's always throwing stuff away. He's doing this, he's doing that. It's always very clean in here. Then she shows me his bathroom. She says, well, he's kind of moved into here. Okay. A lot of men and women a lot of couples have separate bathrooms. It makes life easier for a variety of reasons. You know, some people really like to keep their daily ablutions very private, and maybe they've got different hours. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why couples do it, but I didn't think too much about that. Then she brought me into their bedroom. This is the only room of the house that had clutter. And I said, well, this is really interesting. And she brings me into the bathroom, and there's even more clutter in there. The countertop was full of stuff. And I asked her, I said, what is this stuff? Oh, it can be put away. I just haven't done it. Well, no, but let's really talk about this. What is here? And, you know, like she had toilet paper sitting out on the counter. I'm like, is there room to put it in the cupboard? Oh, well, you know, anyway, it's only 30 minutes. She wasn't ready for the full works yet. So anyway, she said, oh yeah, I can get rid of a lot of this stuff. And I said, you know, that's why your husband's in the guest bathroom. And she kind of hung her head, and she's like, yeah, I think I know that. I said, you know, he can't handle this mess. I said, you said many times that he's very much a neatnik. And for him to wake up in the morning to a mess like this is going to mess with his brain. And for you to have this mess in here, he loves you and he's not going to, criticize you. So instead, he just moved into the other bathroom. And she kind of went, "Yeah, you're right." I said, and then I asked the question. I said, "Is he sleeping in the guest room too?" "Oh, no, 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 no." I said, "Then I suggest that you work on getting rid of the clutter in the bedroom because he will." And that kind of hit her hard. But she saw the truth in it. Had clients, said, the secrets always come out because the house tells, right? Had a couple clients, I was working on their master bedroom. And, when they see me, they present this image of like this very happy couple and da da da, and they're walking me through the house, blah, blah, blah. Oh, and this is the guest bedroom. Well, the guest bedroom smells like boy. There's only one reason the guest bedroom smells like boy, because there's a boy in it. So it was very obvious that they weren't sleeping in the same room together, which, to each his own. However you want to, that's their couplehood. But it just was like, okay, this isn't a guest bedroom. So you can tell me it's a guest bedroom, but it's not a guest bedroom. And a couple more visits, I went over there and he sits down and he says, "Well, da 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 da." I'm like, "Yeah, I know." It's so important that you hear the messages coming from your home. And pay attention to them, because and most of the time we don't know how to listen, we don't always know how to listen. Hey, Mark.
Hey there. Speaking of messages and guest bedrooms and all of that kind of stuff and everything, as you were talking and talking about the couple and everything, I was thinking that sometimes you get these lovely items and everything that can add substance to a house. Because I've had some friends of mine. I actually have a friend that I keep in touch with on the internet, and I know that they've got several because I've joked about what they've had in their house and everything along those lines. So, from a design perspective, because I have not decided what to do with what I'm going to bring up, because it was a gift from the youth camp that is meeting at the cultural center that I'm part of and everything. But there are these big items. Sometimes they're very big and sometimes they're very small, but I can't decide what to do with the teddy bear. So what do we do with teddy bear in terms of design and everything like that? 'Cause like I said, this is a youth group and they gave me a teddy bear and I can't decide what to do with the teddy bear. As when I was a youngster, I used to have a big teddy bear, and like I said, there was a young lady that I've been in touch with on the internet, and I know that she's got several teddy bears in her house. So some people use teddy bears as a form of decoration and everything like that. So I'm just wondering your thoughts around teddy bears and teddy bears' involvement in decorations. Because right now the teddy bear is still in the box in the bag that the kind of folk gave it to me to as a gift and everything. So the teddy bear needs a home. So I got to figure out what the home's going to be for the teddy bear. So any thoughts around teddy bears as gifts and teddy bears as part of your home decoration?
I am a sucker for stuffed animals, I gotta say. And they're just so adorable. And I do have a few that I've had. Like, I have my teddy bear that my grandmother gave me when I was a baby. So they, at some point, they do become much more than a teddy bear.
Yes.
I think we all have, well, I don't know, maybe we all don't, but many people do have those special stuffed animals that meant a lot to them at some point in time. Maybe it's something you got from your first girlfriend or boyfriend, or
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 just family,
whatever.
yeah, or just families. Because, like I mentioned, this was
Family.
a gift. This was a gift from an organization. I mean, it's a program that's part of the Hayti, and I've done a couple of your shows from the Hayti, so you know about the cultural center. So there's a youth camp. So it was a gift from the youth camp. But I do remember a big floppy. I think it was a dog. I have to ask my mom, but I want to say it was a fluffy dog with big ears teddy bear that I had as a kid. I regret that I have no clue where that teddy bear went. Probably went to the dumpster and run, much to its chagrin and everything. But I do still have vivid memories of that teddy bear and it even being in my bedroom and all along those lines. So yes, I got vivid memories of that teddy bear that I had for a number of years and everything. And it was a big, I'm pretty sure it was a fluffy dog.
So there's a lot of things you can do with them. I mean, you can put them on a bed. That's kind of like especially if you've got, you know, you have just your one bedroom, but if you've got like a guest bedroom, that could be a place to put it. It can, I like to do like, I collect chairs.
Mm-hmm.
I can't help it. I collect chairs. I love them. And so I'll have a chair in a corner and it's just there for decorative purposes. I'm never going to sit on it. And I'll stick a bear on it. Mm-hmm. And so that's another thing you can do. I like to do stuff like that in places that are maybe unexpected.
Right.
So maybe it's on a corner, in a corner, mm-hmm. or maybe on a windowsill. I need to get up a little higher here. Maybe it's on a windowsill. And it's just, if it's something that small, if you want to, if you could even put it on your desk.
Right.
It's something like him too, you could put in a bookshelf. Right. He could be, you know, so you can't, like, I've had clients who have antique bassinets or cradles in their room, and that's a great place to put them. Not everybody's going to go that far, but you can put it on the edge of a couch that you don't use. You know, you've got a formal, I wouldn't really put it in a formal living room, but I think there's a lot of unexpected places that you can do it. So on a bookshelf, that might be a nice little breakup from the books. Yeah. Or on a shelf somewhere. I had a client years ago. They had every stuffed, they were teenagers and they had every stuffed toy I think they ever had. And they still had books from when they were like Hop on Pop. Okay, I get Hop on Pop, but there's a lot of other kid books that they had, and they weren't really willing to give up on them. Now I understand the Dr. Seuss. Oh, I've just got something in my eye. Sorry.
That's okay. I wonder if they had Curious George, because like I told you before, I remember having Curious George. I wonder if they had Curious George or Paddington Bear.
Oh, they had a lot. They had a lot. I wouldn't be surprised. And here they were teenagers, and they're surrounded by all of this kid stuff. They had a big net in the corner for their stuffed animals. Their beds were covered with stuffed animals. And I was just like, wow. I mean, and they wanted me to come in and find more space for them. And I said, well, what are you willing to get rid of? Mm-hmm. And their answer was nothing. One of the things they had done is there was a shelf that went along the whole wall, and that was covered in, bear by bear by bear by bear. And so I think that as we become adults, there does need to be some discretion and having a ton of bears. But at the same thing, if this is something you really love, if you really love stuffed animals, I mean, there are adults who love Star Trek and figurines and have all kinds of collections. So it doesn't matter what the collection is. We're picking on teddy bears at the moment, but it could be your Star Trek collection or your Star Wars collection, or I don't even know what else is out that would be newer. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or Transformers or whatever. Legos. A lot of adults love Legos. So it's about creating a space that blends that playfulness with the adultness. I just got a client. The kids are 5 and 8.
Okay.
They love Legos. Wow. And they want me to design a bathroom for them that will be fun for them now, but will also become great when they're grown up. And it's not going to be like oh my God, we did that. So an idea that I thought of, and I'm so excited about this. I'm still working on how to make it happen, but I thought it'd be really cool to give them a Lego vanity.
Oh wow.
And so if we can do that, then that'll be really fun for them now. And what if they can actually build the vanity? How excited would they be? And they have a piece in it. And that also is something that, when they're teenagers, people are going to go in, oh, you have a Lego vanity. People are going to, oh my God, that's so cool. And, when they're gone, it's still a guest room. It'll be more of a guest bedroom. But if they really don't want the guest, in 20 years, they can get a new vanity. Who cares? But we're not having to replace all the tile. We're not having, you know what I'm saying? We get a new vanity. It's not the end of the world. But in the meantime, we have this really cool thing that expresses something that they love. And so I'm still working out how to make that happen. I've got a couple ideas. In the meantime, what I have found is there is a company that makes human-sized Legos. So you can make Lego furniture out of it. And so if nothing else, they have beds, they have tables. So we'll utilize that in their bedroom if nothing else. But I'm really like, how do we make this Lego vanity work? Because I think that would just be the coolest thing. And it doesn't, so it's kid-like, it's getting in touch with that inner child, but doing it in an adult way. And I think there is a very nice balance there. So if you love teddy bears, then yeah, we can find a way to bring in that playfulness.
Mm-hmm.
You're spring, you need some playfulness around you.
Yes.
And I have some spring in me. And so I have my teapots that I don't have any in here. Oh, look at this. Can I show you?
Yes, please do.
Okay,
yeah.
so they're messed. Okay, let me set them up where they're supposed to be. Things are not quite. So here, I have got a couple here.
Mm-hmm.
So let's make them right. Here we go. So let's see. Here we go. Can we see? Can we see? Can we see? Can we see?
Oh yeah. I can see.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
So they're there. So they're a little bit unexpected. And they're not like, they're a little bit unusual.
Dang.
They're not like fluffy, they're not kid bears, right?
Yeah. Not kid bears.
So
well, the other thing that I know that people do, which was interesting, because you'll enjoy this and everything. Sometimes because stores go out of business, then that gives you an opportunity to get items to add to your home decor. So there was a Walgreens that's across the street from me at the Hayti Center when I'm at the Hayti Center, and it's going out of business, I think, a week from Monday. So they're one of those several Walgreens around the country. But when I went there yesterday just to grab some sodas and some nuts and everything along those lines, there was a young lady that I think had bought 6 long purple candles that she was going to add to her home decor. Apparently her church minister really liked the candles as well because they were long purple candles, but she had got them so cheaply because they're going out of business. So she was literally getting 6 candles for like $1.50 because they were like a quarter a piece, whereas they would usually be several dollars and everything like that. So she was grabbing these candles and having them wrapped in stores so she could add them to her home decor. So I know that we've talked about it before that sometimes candles, whether they're like the larger candles, like the ones that are almost like in a large jar, or like the slender ones that she was buying, can add to home decor as well, I would think.
Candles are great accessories.
Right.
There's so much you can do with them. They can, color is important. You want to look at color. You want to look at the shape. You want to look at, size. Candles are a great thing. You can get you can get the same color, but a tall, a medium, and a small. And then you can repeat, get several of the same size and repeat something. So it's a great way to in a rather inexpensive way to do accessories and really create a statement. But there's all kinds of things you can do with candles. I mean, I could
I was thinking
do
something. Like I said, these
an
candles,
hour on what to do with candles. I mean, like,
and these candles look really cool because I didn't ask her if she was a Prince fan. Maybe she was a Prince fan. Maybe she just liked the color purple. But they were long, slender purple candles, and they definitely, like she said, her church minister wanted to go get some, and she even told me, she's like, I was joking with her. She's like, "There's just two more left." So there was only two left at the time that I went there. So I'm pretty sure they're gone now because, like I said, the store is going out of business, and they're not getting restocks because since they're going out of business, whatever is uh, left will be shipped to the existing Walgreens and everything like that. But they are trying to get rid of as much as they can of their stock, but they're also not resupplying any stock because why bring in stuff if you're only going to be there for a week?
no. Purple is also a spiritual color. So some religions embrace that more than others.
Right.
So depending on that could also be the purple thing. And you know, I talk about there's blue and green people, and typically those are the two calming, healing colors. And typically you will be drawn towards one or the other. And then you've probably heard the book When I Grow Old, I'll Wear Purple. That started the Purple Hat Society. And so there are purple people, not purple people eaters, but purple people.
We don't want purple people either.
Love purple. You love purple. And I find like there's a few colors that people just like love or hate. And purple is one of them. Oh, you want to hear something funny? Okay. So, you know, I'm all about color and wearing the colors that fit your personality. So a friend of mine is getting married next month, and she asked me to be a bridesmaid. I said, sure, no problem. And she says, well, I really don't want you to go out of your way to, you know, buy a dress, and I don't want you to have to spend a lot of money on a dress and da da. So you can wear whatever you want as long as it's lilac or purple. And after I stopped laughing in my head, and it's so funny. I tell this to other people and they just start busting up laughing because, like, everybody knows I don't have anything lilac or purple in my closet. And so I said, is eggplant okay? She says, yeah, you can do eggplant. I said, oh, cool. I can manage eggplant.
Eggplant would be great.
You realize I have to buy something. I have nothing in my wardrobe that's purple. I do have a very old skirt from back when in my late 20s, and I have dreams of being able to wear it again. But it really is a pretty skirt, and it is.
Jeanette, I've got that same dilemma because a friend of mine, there's a form of music, you know, different areas of the world have different musical styles that are popular or native to their area. Memphis is known for blues, and to some degree, Nashville is definitely known for country music and everything like that. There is a form of music called there's native to DC, and it came out, I would say, before hip hop, but don't quote me on that and everything. But it's called go-go music. You might have heard the song that EU put out called "Doing the Butt" and things like that. Or Chuck Brown was a very popular person.
Like 60s or 70s, like the go-go dancers.
Not so much go-go dancers as it's like a form of R&B music and everything, and it's go-go music. So there was a band called Chuck Brown and I forget, Chuck Brown and the Soul Searchers, I think is his full name, but it came out in between R&B and I won't say in between R&B and hip hop, but don't quote me on the time
frame. So like in the 80s?
Yeah, like the 80s, like 70s, 80s style music and everything. Okay. And it's dance music. Like I said, if you remember the movie School Days, I think that's Doing the Butt was in that movie, if I remember correctly.
I vaguely remember that.
That's EU and things like that. And all along those lines, because they were bragging about women with big backsides within the song. That's one of their famous songs. But there was
Baby Got Back, right?
Yeah, Baby Got Back. I think that might have been a go-go type song. But if it wasn't go-go, it's definitely in that same style and everything. And then there's a group called Trouble Funk, and there's an all-women's group called Belladonna. But Trouble Funk, Belladonna, and Patrick and Frankie Beverly, who passed not that long ago, there's going to be a salute band to them that is performing. And a friend of mine is doing the concert and everything, but he couldn't just do it as a regular concert. He's doing it as an all white affair. I don't know that I have any white jacket. I don't know that I have any white shoes. I don't know that I have any white thing. I'm supposed to be emceeing it and everything. So I've got your dilemma. I've got to figure out what I'm going to wear. It's going to be all white because it's all white affair. Even my shoes are supposed to be white as well because apparently that's what Frankie was known for and everything. So I've got to figure out what I'm going to get that's going to be all white because it's an all white affair.
Yeah, I was asked to do a speech one time, and she told me I had to wear all white. And I just looked at her and I'm like, I'm not doing it. You want me to be the center of attention? I need to be in my colors. I need to. You want me to give a speech? I need to be in my colors. And yeah, for one of my healing classes, we had to do, we had to have something that was all white. So I don't know, I went to Target or something like that. And I found a dress that was, it had to be a dress, had to be a long dress, had to be like all these different criteria. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do?
And that's what this
so
is.
I just went and bought the cheapest thing I could find. And I was like, I'm never wearing. I felt so out of place in it. And when the ladies in the group, oh, I love that dress. It's so beautiful. And like, we got done. And I found a bathroom and I changed like immediately. I'm like, I'm getting out of this thing. And I gifted it. Sorry, here, you have it. I'm never doing this again. And it was, the class, I had to do what I had to do for the class, but I was like, I don't need to do this for what they were teaching because I've done it plenty of times without having to wear white. And there's everybody's got their own traditions. And that's what they are. They're traditions and their own, but it's like, I've got other ways of doing this where I don't have to wear white, and I'm going to do those because I don't like wearing white.
Yeah, I'm not a big white wearer either. As a matter of fact, I mean, I might have some white t-shirts and some white basic shirts and everything, but even my shirts are oftentimes are not white. They're usually, like you said, those spring kind of colors, blue and some other colors. But of course, I got black on today and everything. But definitely, there's a lot of more vibrant colors other than the white and everything. So I might be making a quick trip to Goodwill, and as soon as the event is done, I might go to the nearest store and give it back, or maybe go to the shelter and be like, I did what I had to do. Now y'all can have it.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a trip to the Goodwill, because you can't just, I could get a cheap dress for like $15-20, but you can't get a cheap jacket if you got to wear a coat. Like, there's no such thing as a cheap coat, I don't think.
I don't think so. Not even
It's been a while since I bought men's clothes for somebody, but
not even the Goodwill, because
I haven't been to the men's department in a long time, but I don't think those were ever cheap.
They've not been cheap at all. And like I said, even at Goodwill, they can get up there in pricing and everything. If there is a thrift store not that far from me, so me and the thrift store might be friends as I try to find this white outfit. Ironically, it's also on, the event is on, I think, May 10th, which means it'll be around the same time as graduations and Mother's Day and everything like that. So it'll be around Mother's Day weekend. And I know that some people get into wearing white to their celebrations also. So it might be it might be easy to get white during that time, or it might be harder because I'm not sure how popular white is as a color for graduations. Probably depends on the university.
Well, I had to wear a white dress. For my graduation from high school, we all had to order this dress, and we all voted on the dress, and it was really interesting. We all had the same dress, and there was all these. So I was considered fat at my school, and I was probably a size 8 when I would say most everybody was like a size 4, maybe a size 6. I was maybe most people were more like in this around 4 or 6, and I was like 8 or 10. And so these women who had no figure flaws were picking out the outfit for the people with the figure flaws. And I'm like, okay. And apparently they decided that this thing that didn't come in around the waist, but went flat down and then did this asymmetrical thing around the hips was going to be more figure flattering for most people.
Mm.
I can't vouch for most people. I can only vouch for me.
Mm-hmm.
It hid my best assets and expanded my worst ones. And so I was not happy.
You were not a happy camper.
I was not happy, but I bought the dang dress. But that was our thing. Everybody had a white dress, and there was this beautiful processional that we did down we had this beautiful staircase in the lobby of the high school, and our parents were at the bottom of it, and we came down one by one, and we were each given a bouquet of red roses, and it really was a beautiful ceremony. And then we had the regular ceremony outside, but that was a prequel. So there are a lot of schools that do the white dress thing, but I don't know if that's popular anymore now.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's popular either, because I'm trying to think. Because we were the yellow jacket, so I'm sure yellow was in our color. It might have been yellow and black, but I'm trying to think of what I did. Because I know the graduation ceremony, I want to say it was on the football field, because I lived in a rural town. I don't remember being in a classroom. I know college, because I was a December graduate, was in the varsity theater, because mom came up with that. I can't remember. I don't think any other family members came up with that. But the graduation, I remember that was, I want to say outside, but don't quote me on that. And then afterwards, I went and there was like a little semi-party that mom and dad, I guess to some degree, my brother were throwing for me. And then I went to that briefly, and then I went to one of the neighborhood parties with one of my fellow graduates and everything. I don't even think I stayed there that long, but I went there and enjoyed some graduation party atmosphere and everything, and then came on back home, if I remember correctly. That was so many years ago that I'm trying to think if that memory is correct, or if that's one of those figments of the imagination. Who knows? Well, so you had a good show today. You talked about teddy bears, and we'll bring back teddy bear. And I like your idea. I think teddy bear is going to go make a spot in the bookshelf. So teddy bear is going to go to the bookshelf. Teddy bear is going to go hang out.
What does this shirt say?
It says Youth Arts, because it was like this. The program is called the Youth Arts Enrichment Program. So it's Youth Arts Enrichment Program, Socialization Through the Arts, Hayti Heritage Center, St. Joseph Historic Foundation. So he's got his own little T-shirt that's about the youth art. So he's wearing his own little T-shirt.
Yeah, I think, whatever collection you have, it's just about being discerning. And I think you just have to, there's ways where you can find some. I have a Harrods bear that I bought when I was at Harrods. Yeah. And he's a doorstop. And so he gets moved around a little bit. I don't really have a door that he would be a good doorstop for, but he pops up in this corner and he pops up in that corner, and he's got a little mouse. He's a mouse. He's got the little bowler hat, and he's got the proper suits and tails, and he's adorable. And, he just pops up every now and then. So that's what I like to do with stuff like that. That's cute, is just put it in an unexpected place. And then people come visit and they're like, oh, they're kind of gently surprised. I mean, my little bears on my secretary there, I don't expect them to see them there, but they just fit in naturally.
And like you said, he came in from my summer camp, and it's all about education and socialization. So I think a bookstore would fit him. I mean, I think a bookshelf would fit him well. So he's going to go hang out. I think he's going to go hang out on the bookshelf. He's a very traveled bear, because right now he lives in North Carolina, but the back of his tag says that he was from Largo, Florida, but made in China. So he's been all through China, Florida, and North Carolina. So he's a well-traveled bear.
That's awesome.
Cool.
All right. Well, it's a good show. You can always ask him where he wants to be. That's another thing I do, is I ask them. They'll tell you.
When I was talking,
they'll tell you.
Yeah, he was kind of agreeing. He likes the bookshelf idea. I think he told me, I like the bookshelf. He said he said in the bookshelf is near, there's like a token turtle that's near here as well. He's like, he likes being near the turtle. So he's like, we'll just hang out together. The turtles, I think the turtle and the otter are on the one of my dressers. So he said, I'll hang out on the bookshelf and I'll talk to the otter and the turtle. So we'll have animal conversation, because they'll be near each other.
I have a set of ceramic dolls, and they're very picky about how they have to be, and they can't be separated. They like to talk. They're a little family. They cannot be separated. They have to be in a certain way. And I just was, everything's being moved, everything's being cleaned, everything's being done right now. So I was cleaning off the area where I have my cat's ashes, and she was like, I want to be someplace different. She wants to see a different part of the world. And I'm like, okay, I'll move her.
Yep. And the bear, as we get ready to play some Kendu Spices, he just told me that he wants to be in the bookshelf so that he can look at a couple of the books and everything, and then he's going to talk to the otter and the fish and read to them the books that he's read. So he's going to tell them about the books that he's read, and he might even share some of his knowledge since he is an education bear. So he said that he wants to go to the bookshelf so he can learn from the books and then pass the information. So he wants to be an education and a teacher bear. So he's going to be an education and a teacher bear.
I love it.
Yep.
Cool. Well, let's go get some Kendu Spice because it's lunchtime and I'm hungry.
I know that. I just had lunch earlier. It was fish, and it was very enjoyable. So I'll have some Kendu Spice, and we'll get ready to get on out of here. It was a fun show, and I'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
You know how people love to enjoy food and don't understand how to flavor their food or how to replicate a meal? They're interested in supplements, but don't know where to begin? Well, what I do is I take the guesswork out of enjoying flavor and wellness with my flavorful spice blends so that they can create delicious meals with healing benefits. Kendu Spice was created to help cooks at any level enjoy healing through food. Every spice blend was designed to give added health benefits of natural herbs. Every blend is complete. There's no need to add any additional spice for a delicious meal. Saving you time and money while adding supplements to your meals can be both tasty and fun. My earliest memories in the kitchen began with my father, Kenny Kendu Bond, so it was fitting that I would name this line after him. I have always looked to natural remedies to supplement the body, and I found myself hiding herbs and minerals in foods for my family. That's when it hit me. Everyone needs Kendu Spice. Everyone should be having this. It's an exclusive brand for cooks at any level who want to create flavorful dishes with healing benefits that can satisfy the body and soul. Add a little spice to your life. Give Kendu Spice a try.